Yeah. Oh, Cameron Jackson. Sorry. All right. So we on the right we have Christian Smith. On the left we have Cameron Jackson. And so Christian Smith is playing a red-white heroic deck. We just saw in the last round. It's a very strong deck that has been winning a lot of tournaments lately. Cameron Jackson is playing white-black. White weenies with a black splash for removal and stuff. So this is it's going to be an interesting matchup. I think the red deck is the devotion deck is probably favored because the white deck doesn't have a lot of ways to deal with devotion. And also the red deck is playing Stormbreath Dragon, which is going to be difficult for the white deck to deal with. Although the black splash is going to be helpful because it gives them access to things like Doomblades, Hero's Downfall, and whatnot. So we'll have to see how this goes. Yep, everyone knows Cameron Jackson's password now, so if anyone finds his phone, you can hack into it. And they've got their opening hands. They're thinking about whether to keep. This should be a good match. Cameron lays a plains, no first turn play. Christian lays a land, play tapped. Let's see what Cameron throws down. What do we got here? We have a Hero of Oroas. Oh, okay. So he might be playing more enchantments in his deck. Oh, well, doesn't matter because the Hero of Oroas has fallen. So what will his next contender be?
He said after the last match he was getting right stressed. Yeah.
Oh, it's Brimaz. Alright, he's a powerhouse from Born of the Gods. It's going to be hard for Christian to deal with because he can make a pile of tokens out of that. So he puts down Boros Reckoner. Brimaz is actually bigger than that, although it's kind of a problem. You attack with Brimaz and the Boros can block the token and it's not optimal. Oh, Pacifism deals with him for the time being. Comes in with... It is a good use of Pacifism. It's unfortunate that he keeps his devotion, but, you know, gets that thing out of the way, and Brimaz can start making tokens and come in for some damage. And he played his first dual land, so turned on the black in his deck for removal if he has any. He doesn't have any yet, but that might only be on his sideboard. So, oh, that's right. That Brimaz is supposed to have vigilance. You want to go in the All right.
Watch him look back.
Yeah.
I told you. Psychic. No.
So Christian gets down an Ash Zealot, and he can't attack into Brimaz. So this is looking good for the white deck. Okay, the white deck has a good matchup here. Although if Imposing Sovereign. All right, that's really good for Cameron because that means Christian stuff all comes and play tapped, including his Stormbreath Dragons and whatnot. And he's not. He's got his Brimaz tapped again. Go send. You want to go in and tell him? Cameron's dad is going to go in and let him know that his Brimaz shouldn't be tapped. So, his opponent was nice enough to let him know. So, that's classy. All right. So Christian got down a Burning Tree Emissary. He's pumping up his devotion count, and he's got the Nykthos online now. So, he can... all right. So, that's a lot of damage with Fennec Amogus, although you can't attack with that Stormbreath Dragon. It's supposed to come into play tapped. So I'm going to go in and tell him about that.
Anybody want to hear a sample? You want to hear a sample? No. I don't know, there were only two.
Alright.
That's what I was saying.
So now that Cameron has at least one turn to do something, and he throws down a fabled hero, which I don't think is going to do it for him, but let's see what happens. He's throwing an enchantment down. I think it's an enchantment that gives him +1 plus ethereal armor, yeah. That's... don't think that's going to be good enough. This Christian's going to be able to come in with the dragon next turn, and he's got so much devotion he can pump it up to a 7/7, but you never know. Gets another token. Passes the turn. Christian untaps. And I don't think there's anything... there's no reason not to just pump up the Stormbreath Dragon, and he's doing it right now, so... puts him down to 5 right away. Plays a Hammer Perforos for some reason. Comes in with the dragon. And that's game. So, first game, Cameron didn't really have a lot of hope because he's doesn't have any way to get rid of Stormbreath Dragon, and I've been informed that he does. Well, he didn't draw any way to deal with Stormbreath Dragon in that first game, but it's hard for a white deck to deal with a devotion deck, because if you're using cards like Pacifism as your removal, they're gonna... cards like Boros Reckoner are still gonna contribute to devotion, so when the red deck gets its Nykthos out, it's gonna be able to cast anything, it's gonna be able to pump up the Stormbreath Dragons and whatnot, so... and it's still gonna trigger the Mox Medic. So really what Cameron needs, and I'm sure he's doing that now, he's probably got a bunch of removal, black removal on the sideboard that can deal with Stormbreath Dragon and other guys. Oh, I didn't see him sideboard, but maybe I wasn't paying enough attention. Oh well. Anyway, alright. Let's see if Cameron has a better game this time. Thinking about whether to mulligan or not. I think Christian kept a hand with a Mountain and a Nykthos earlier, and I don't play the red deck much, but I think that's a mistake. I think you want to have at least 2 Mountains in your opening hand, or else to mulligan. Alright, gets down an opposing Sovereign. That's a good thing against any deck. Ash Zealot, which is tapped. Someone watching the game knows that. Yeah, so opposing Sovereign is really good against this deck. And now the Ash Zealot's pacified and he's coming for 2. Scry. And I saw Nykthos there. And he's leaving Nykthos on top because he doesn't have one yet. That makes his gameplay plan almost unstoppable. Draws down the guy and then burns. Ah, God's Willing protects his opposing Sovereign. Good job. So, forgot to untap his Sovereign. Probably will think of it soon. Scrying. Didn't see that card, but he likes it. He needs... that's a good card against the Burning Tree Emissary. Coming for 16. What he really needs to draw is some removal. He needs like a Doomblade or a Hero's Downfall. Well, he wouldn't be able to cast that yet. But gets 4 mana, 5 mana. Oh, here comes the dragon. For 4. Or, no, dragon's tapped. Giving Cameron a turn to draw and whatever it is that he liked that was on the top. Lays another Scryland. So he can get the Hero's Downfall off now if he draws it. And is that a black card? What's that black card in his hand? A Spiteful Returned. Okay. That's not... he's not going to be fast enough against... he just played a Spiteful Returned. So that's and that can, I guess that's a reasonable aggro card and helps you get in there, but it's not going to be enough against the dragon. So the dragon is going to be monstrous.
Sure. 630.
I see a Fanatic Amogus in his hand. That's probably coming down for a pile, and then does he have enough to make dragon monstrous too? Oh, another dragon's coming down. Although it's tapped. That might have been a mistake because it doesn't really need that dragon right now.
Stormbreath still makes
Be easier just to.
Are they legendary?
Ah, Celestial Flare, excellent. It gets rid of the dragon. I'm not hoping for either player here. I'm just. I want this to go to 3, so I'm hoping for Cam for this. And he gets a. Oh, he has a swamp. Oh, it's looking grim.
Let's change to the 0-0.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but can you copy his Stormbreath?
Did you update the records?
Ah,
No, but bench a piece where he takes control of his creature until it dies. What's bench?
so Christian Smith, all he has to do is pump up that Storm Breath, coming for a bunch of damage, and oh, Assemble the Legion. That's an excellent card that just makes life more difficult for Cameron. It's I wouldn't have played it in this matchup, but might not have had anything better to bring in. I guess it's pretty good against White Weenies because a lot of them don't fly, and the infinite stream of tokens can keep them away. So Fanatic Amogus is huge. Does 8 damage and then 4 more from the Storm Breath. Cameron needs a miracle now. Let's see what he gets. Is it a miracle? It is a Hero of Erois. Not quite heroic enough to slay those dragons. And that would be game. Cameron. Well, Cameron's done an excellent job to get this far in the tournament. And he's essentially playing a homebrew white-black deck, and comes in for wants to do a couple damage with that spiteful returns, blocks with the Burning Tree Emissary, and Christian untaps, gets a counter on the thingamajig, puts out a soldier, and chains the guy to the rocks just because he can, and doesn't have quite enough to kill him with the Storm Breath this turn, but you can pump it up, bring him down to 1, and also if you can attack. Oh, there's no real point in attacking those other guys. Just come in with the dragon. This match has been all about the dragons. The last matchup was too. So those guys will trade. The hero is blocking the fanatic, and the other guy will block the guy that he has protection from. And he's throwing him in the discard. Doesn't realize that it has protection. Oh, Christian's pointing it out for him. And the Fanatic Amogus should be dead, I believe. Yeah, that's being pointed out. And Cameron gets his last turn. Does he draw Doomblade for that dragon? He draws a Fabled Hero, unfortunately. And that's definitely game now. So, I didn't look through Cameron's deck beforehand, but it looks like this is he's playing a white-black deck with a bunch of enchantments to throw on his white guys to trigger heroic and make his creatures bigger. So it's an interesting idea that I've seen tried a few times in Standard, but it's never really, the heroic thing has never really been strong enough. Alright, and there's the handshake, and that match is over. And we have Christian Smith as the winner of the Midgard Under 16 tournament. Congratulations, Christian.